Welcome in, everybody, wherever you are, however you may be listening. This is the Wednesday wrap-up, and, of course, we got Herb in the house. What's going on, man?
Man, we went industrial-sized iced coffee this morning, so we're getting through this show.
Raj on time and everything. It's going to be a good day.
This is going to be a great day. Raj, way to bring it, Raj. I'm so proud of you. We had a late show last night, too. We went way over time, and he's still on time this morning.
Nice. You know, it's funny because I did catch some of your show last night, and you know, the part that I caught, I did actually want to talk to you about, because it is something that I do find completely ridiculous. And
my bad.
You're welcome. But it's when people take their fandom too seriously and they ruin the experience for other people, especially when it's like their kids and stuff like it. I find that stuff wild. And the biggest thing is they don't pay me, right? Like, at the end of the day, my life still happens, whether they won or they lost or whatever, right? Do I want them to win? Of course. Am I a fan of the team? And, you know, you're going to, you know, pump them up the whole way? Of course. If they lose, does it matter? Nope. Like, so the people that get so wrapped up in it that it dictates their life.
Yeah.
That is something that, you know, you got to have some self-reflection about, because there's no way an outside force that you have no control over and actually no ties to, honestly.
Right.
I mean, you buy all of the stuff to be a fan. It's not like they're giving you that or giving you tickets or paying you to be on, you know, their cheerleader or whatever. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to look back at that and be like, okay, like, it's not that deep.
Yeah. I think Raj told the story one time on our show that I think he broke, I feel like it was a phone one time after one game, looked at himself and said, yeah, not doing that again. You know, like, because what does that get me, you know? But no, I'm absolutely, and it's funny because I always get the text after an Alabama loss, you know, especially, let's just be honest, during this recent run that we had, you know, there weren't many losses. So we would get texts and it was like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it sucked, but that game was honestly 15 minutes ago. I'm good. I'm trying to figure out what I'm watching tonight already, you know? So it's like the biggest thing that it changes with me after an Alabama loss, just because we're kind of the villains, is I don't go on ESPN that much afterwards, but nothing else changes with my life. You know what I mean? I don't avoid anybody. You couldn't tell at work, you know, on Monday morning, you're not looking at me like, Herb, you okay? Yeah, like, yeah, we're good. It's like you said, I have no control. I didn't play badly. You know, those were the ones that I was like, oh man, did I not root hard enough in the third quarter? Like, no, I think we're good.
That's right. It's all on you. You weren't yelling loud enough. I mean, that was the difference.
I change clothes whenever the team is doing badly to try and change the mojo. Okay, so after losses, I've got a whole pile of Alabama gear that needs to be. But other than that, that's all I got for you guys. So no, I love my team, but you just can't win or die with every losses. And then he made a great point last night, because he's got his two daughters that he wants to, you know, them to enjoy. You cannot ruin it for the kids. Like, how are you passing on to them and they see you acting a fool? So no, I don't get it.
Yeah. And Steve-O, like, the thing that's funny is this also has nothing to do with us, right? I mean, if it comes out that your team was cheating in some way, there was a recruiting issue, there's whatever, you're still not on the staff.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're not worried about you getting sanctioned by the NCAA or, you know, anything like that, or in the NFL, or, you know, whatever it is you are a part of the fandom of. Yeah, I mean, you have no control. And even when bad stories come out, you're like, that's a bummer. That's my team.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's right? Really it. Like, and the thing about when people talk about scandals in college, because Michigan is going through that, right? If I was a Michigan fan right now, would I be sweating any of it? No, because you can't take away the memories of that season. In my mind, it'd be like, man, we won a championship. So, and Steve also kind of proves one of the other points. Alabama is the villains of the college football world, man. So people sit there and root for our downfall. And so, yeah, I mean, I know you're like, hey, the Saban sandals. Bro, I sat there and watched those games. You can't take that away from me,
I mean, best example of that, Pete Carroll at SC, right? Wins a championship. There's a scandal, leaves college football.
Right.
They still had that national championship. Did they win one the next few years? No, right? They had sanctions and whatever. They still won one.
Yep.
And then did that really affect Pete Carroll moving forward? No, he won a Super Bowl in Seattle. Or you look, best example of, a dumpster fire from one level to another. Urban Meyer, going to be in the Hall of Fame of, college football. Arguably the worst NFL coach ever. Like in the history of just professional sports in general, he ranks up there probably in the top 10. So but that doesn't change the fact that he won a ton in college and is going to be in the College Football Hall of Fame.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to do with anything else. And if you're an SC fan, you're still an SC fan, right?
And that's mine.
If you're an Urban Meyer fan, you're probably still an Urban Meyer fan somehow.
I guess that's Steve-O. Steve-O doesn't like Saban, but he's an Urban Meyer fan.
Right. How's it going, Win? Yeah, but no.
That is not win. I will refuse. Like, I'm too old to change. Can't do it.
Here we go. Broke it in 17. Okay.
I remember that game too.
Yeah, no, it's I don't know. I figured I'd bring it up because it's so ridiculous. And I mean, I think of it every time you see fights at a game. Like, what are we fighting about?
Right.
Now, sometimes I wish I would have seen that passion out of my team on the field.
Right. You know what I mean?
Like sometimes you see people boxing up in the stands and you're like, if our team had that kind of fight, we might have won today.
Yeah, you know what? Put that guy in. Hey, buddy, you got any college eligibility left? Or if you're pro, you don't even worry about it. Just get that going. Yeah, no, absolutely. And then, like you said, there's a line as fans. It's like you said, if you get up into a state, because you and I are kind of different as fans, but we both kind of understand. Like if you're a trash talking fan and the person next to you is trash talking fan, then that's fine as long as you guys understand the line. Okay, trash talk about your teams. Don't make it personal. It shouldn't be insulting the guy next to me. It should be, I'm gonna insult your team. You can insult my team. That's fine. Look, we can have a beer after 100%. The game. Loser buys. Like it should be fine in that way. I think people
that's fun.
Yeah.
Like I love sitting like in our own stadium. I like to sit with the visitors because I want to talk. Right. Like, I want to go back and forth with fans. And as long as you keep it about the game, it's fun.
Yes.
As soon as somebody's like, you're an idiot, and you're just like, okay, you know what? It's cool. You obviously aren't good at this. So that's okay.
which is something that is just, I don't want to get into the whole society, blah, 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 whatever. But that's what's happened lately. People attack the person instead of the argument. And I'm like, that's fine. Argue my team all day, because those are facts and those are stuff that's laid out on there. You can say this, but once they start, like you said, oh, you're an idiot, you're just stupid. Well, I'm like, what are we doing now? So now it's personal. Hey, Win finally arrived for the first time. What's up, Win? How are you doing?
So I mean, that's where, and this is true whether it's really any topic, whether it's sports, politics, whatever, right? Is as soon as they make it personal, it tells you more about them than anything else, because it means they don't have enough information to keep bantering, right? Like they don't have enough research on the topic or their team or whatever to be able to keep it up. Because if they're going to the attack on you, they ran out of ammo on the subject.
Yeah.
And so that's where you look at it and you're just like, okay, I know that this conversation's done because you're out of anything useful to say. So that's as soon as it becomes personal, it's like, yeah, okay, I'll tap out. Like I was going to go buy another beer anyway.
Right. And that's usually my point. They're like, oh, you're done? Yeah, I'm done. It's not, because once you start getting personal, then people want to fight and they want to go into the next step. And I'm like, I'm here to watch the game. I'm not here to get kicked out of anything. Like, I actually want to sit here for the whole game. And honestly, fighting some random guy just put on YouTube or TikTok videos that you just really don't want to be a part of. Like,
well, and what's it gain you?
Exactly.
Right. I mean, say you win that fight. Cool.
Yeah.
Good job, I guess. Like,
yes.
You still got in a fight at a sporting event. Like, who cares?
Yes. And the way these things go nowadays, your identity is posted every year. Jay Bake seems like the type that will get kicked out of the oh my god, the before the game even gets started. God, my words are escaping me this morning.
Words are hard. It's fine.
Words are tough. Well, it's an early morning show. For me, it's 8. For Bo, it's like 3:30 in the morning. So. Tailgates, yes. Jay Bake would get kicked out of the tailgate before the game. But I don't know. He also seems like the type that would get it. Jay Bake's he's an instigator, but he's also like he's like that person you're talking about. He would instigate and he get to, but at the end, he would absolutely have a beer with you at the end and go, "Hey man, it was just all fun." So.
Oh yeah. Well, see, and I love that.
Yeah.
Like that is a ton of fun. And whether it doesn't matter which side you're on. Like I've been in games where the Hawks blew them out, right? And you're buying a guy a beer by halftime because you're like, man, I can't even make funny anymore. This is terrible. Yeah. And vice versa, where you're talking a ton of smack and then your team gets wrecked. Yeah. And, you're just like, well, I got nothing.
Yes. That's the one thing. You're talking trash about something you can't affect at all. So you're just like, guys, please back me up here.
Well, and so like 2 of them come to mind for me. And I know I've said it on other shows, but we were playing Arizona and we beat them like 50 something to like 10 or like, it was terrible. And this game was basically over in the second quarter. And I was before the game and like a little bit in the first quarter, me and the Cardinals fan sitting in front of me, going back and forth, having a blast, right? Like he was a good sport. And so the banter was a ton of fun. And then it got out of hand in a hurry. And I was just like, yeah. And I sent him a beer. I was like, man, like you still got a lot of football left. Like, I don't know, man. I feel bad. Like I'm not even going to talk anymore. Cause like, wow. And then, on the other end, we had the Saints come into town, and I believe they were 0-4 coming into the game, and I think we were like 3-1, something like that, right? Like we were off to a decent start, and I'm like, oh, you guys are about to be 0-5, right? And so we're talking, and they wrecked us, and it was quick too. Like they were just scoring, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, huh. And they're like, yeah, not much to say. I was like, not really. Like, this is terrible.
And that's the thing. People like, you're shutting up. No, my team shut up. So, like, I'm in a fight. I look behind and they're all having beer.
Right? Exactly. I was leading the charge. I just didn't realize I was by myself. Yeah, no, it was hilarious. And they bought me a beer in that one. They're like, oh, you're all right, man. Like,
I mean, sometimes it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were at the Oklahoma game like that. There wasn't a whole lot of trash talk before, but like after the game, when the people are looking at us, we're just like, hey, man, congrats. Y'all got it. I mean, it is what it is. I
mean, that's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, after you lose a game, like, I don't know why you wouldn't say, hey, y'all got us. Like, the people that are like, your team still sucks. It's like, well, I mean.
Taking the 12th. Yeah. Steve, like I said, dude, I have been in some, man. The Clemson game, the national championship game we played against Clemson, that at halftime I knew it was over with. Rod just taking down, Christmas decorations. Like when you're out of it, he's taking down. I don't know what I did for the second half, but Rod went to help my mom take down Christmas decorations for the second half. That's when he knew. But and like I said, are you guys okay? Yeah, I mean, you're gonna you watch, like, there is no team that you're gonna watch that's gonna win every game every year. Like, it's just not.
Yeah, no, like, that's not a real thing. You're like, of course I'm okay. I got to jump on some chores. Like, I'm gonna be done early today.
You know what I mean? It is what it is. Losses happen. If you live and die by every loss, you're gonna be disappointed. And for us college football fans, there is no other task in the world that you'd put 18 to 22-year-olds and then think my life depends on them doing it. But routinely, people live and die.
I mean,
by their losses.
That's not entirely true. That is 90% of our military.
Yeah, I still don't understand that. Hey, you can't drink, but you can go to war. I'm like, we failed.
Well, you can't drink domestically. You can drink everywhere you get stationed.
Oh, yeah, I know. When we were in Germany, not that I ever partook, but you were offered at a very young age. Germans don't give a crap. So.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, yeah. We've all been there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man. Well,
Steve-O's got some heartbreak to get off his chest too.
Right?
Steve-O, we feel you, man. We feel you.
Well, and we did the same thing when we decided to throw an interception on the one. So
yeah,
we had a good lead in that game before we started getting a lot of guys hurt. So, but what do you do? I guess since we're already talking about football and the NFL, Steelers Dolphins trade.
So many questions.
A lot of hype about it. Seems like kind of a wash to me, really. The biggest thing is it was just a weird trade, right? Yeah. So you get rid of an all-pro safety in Minkah Fitzpatrick, although Fitzpatrick didn't want to be there. So, I mean, getting rid of him, I guess. I hadn't
heard that. I didn't realize that he was trying to get out of Pittsburgh.
Well, he wasn't trying to force his way out. It just sounded like he wasn't happy, right? So Minkah goes to Miami. Miami loses Jalen Ramsey, older, expensive, fair enough, and Jonnu Smith. Losing Smith is curious for, losing two guys for Minkah seemed interesting.
Well, now it was two different trades though, right? That everybody packages it together, but the way it was presented when it first came out it was like a player swap and then Jonnu Smith for a late draft pick. So I don't know if I need to go back and look.
Yeah, no, you're right. But the late draft pick is like a 6th rounder. So.
Right. So it's basic. So that's why I think everyone lumped it together, because they were like, this part doesn't matter. But
yeah, right.
It's like even more curious to me.
That's like a 2-for-1 swap, and they're like, here's some gum that we already kind of chewed on, though.
Yes.
So you're just like, okay, a 6th rounder. How often do 6th rounders work out?
Right.
It's a fairly low percentage, right? Yeah. So
everyone can almost name every 6th rounder that works out. That's how you know it's a low number.
Exactly.
Like, here's the 4 guys. So yeah.
So it seemed like a weird trade that neither team really got better, because the Steelers didn't need a tight end.
Right.
Like, they have a good tight end.
Right.
Like, if they would have packaged in a possession receiver, that would have made all the sense in the world.
Yeah.
Right. But they get another tight end, which, cool, I guess. You get a aging corner. I think his last Pro Bowl was 5 years ago or something. Right.
They're already trying to determine where they're going to put him in at on the defense.
Yeah. So like it didn't make a ton of sense to me.
No.
So then the Dolphins, because they got rid of a tight end, they give Darren Waller a call. And, so I think he's been in a Pro Bowl, right? Darren Waller.
With the Raiders, right? He had one good season, and then
Yeah.
Oh, and you forgot the best part. They actually had to call him and initiate a trade for him with the Giants.
Yes. So here's the thing with Waller, right? You're like, okay, he's been out of football a year now, right?
Right.
He left because he doesn't like football.
Yeah. I thought he had a rap career going.
He's got a music thing that's going to be a distraction. Hasn't played football in a year. You get rid of Jonnu and you're taking Waller off the couch. Roger, what are y'all doing? I mean, don't get me wrong. I am very curious. Like, I'm going to watch this. Yeah. But at the same time, why? Like, just why? Like,
when you read his blurb, his best years was 2019 and 2020.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's been a minute.
So, yeah, to your point, like, I don't. There's just and I do have one little kind of lost nugget in there. Mika forced his way out of Miami before. Does he want to go back? I mean, if you're the Dolphins, that's a good thing to know, right? Hey, Mika, come back. And he's like, I don't know. Not many guys get traded twice and only play for two teams. But I don't know. I didn't get usually when you swap players, if it's almost a player for player, yeah. Which, by the way, Steve-O, she's my favorite too. So I'm with you on that one. So
she's funny.
Yeah.
She's funny.
She's very awkward at times when it comes to her interactions with the public. They look.
No, absolutely. That's why she's funny, because you watch some of those things and you're like, okay, like that was odd.
Yeah, very, very much so. So,
in fact, she had one yesterday where there was a Caitlin Clark fan there, and she tossed her a shirt and was like, "Do better."
Wow.
I wasn't mad at it. It's actually really funny, but I wish I would have had that video clip ready. I didn't think the conversation
check that
out
out.
that direction, but it was hilarious. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out because it's funny.
You gotta have everything ready. Wednesday wrap up always keeps you on your toes, man.
Right?
You never know. But yeah, usually when you do a player swap, like the first part of this trade, you get different positions out of it. You don't trade somebody who's like in a similar position, but maybe a little older and a little more washed and overpaid. And you're like, I don't know what's the point here. So I don't know. I couldn't tell what either team was doing.
I just don't see how either team really got better here.
No. Then, I read the article. They're like, oh, Johnny Smith, they're not worried about him because, they're going to funnel the offense through Waddle and Hill. It's like, yeah, but Johnny had a great end of year last year, and both of those two guys can't seem to stay healthy at the same time. So
that's what I was going to say.
Seems like tight end would be, okay. Gesicki did well in that offense when he would get his limited throws, and then like I said, Smith last year. Some of us had Smith on their fantasy team. That's why we know his exact production at the end of the year. But otherwise, yeah, I don't get this. I don't get if Pittsburgh, you're building your team on defense, and then you do a trade like this. Doesn't make sense to me either. You definitely didn't get better, I don't think. So I don't know. No. It was a head scratcher when it came across.
Well, and it's funny because when this thing came out, people were like, breaking news. And you're like, oh, cool. There's a big trade. Like, this is going to be awesome. And then you look at the trade and you're like, I don't even know if this is like small news. Like, this is a who cares kind of trade.
More questions than answers in that one.
For sure. I mean, and unless the sole purpose was just moving money around.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing I can think about it is both teams were like, okay, we need to change the way some of these finances are. Then it makes sense where you're just like, okay, we're going to lose a DB, but we're going to gain a DB. It lets us, finesse some of the way that the cap gets hit. That I kind of get. It's kind of like hotels when they change names, right? Because it's a tax
Right.
write-off to acquire a new hotel. You're just like, okay, like I've seen this same hotel change names 5 times. It's the same hotel. Like you walk in, you're like, yeah, like half the time it's the same staff. You're just like, all right, yeah, like there's nothing. You guys literally changed the paint.
Yeah. 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 I don't know.
So, but yeah, no, that one was weird. The Waller one was weird. But at least the Dolphins are involved in 2 weird ones.
Yeah.
So,
can I ask my last question on it? What executive came up with the idea of calling Waller? Like, how did that even come up? Because that's not even a name I'm thinking about.
Oh, chaos dice, obviously. Yeah, you're just like, that's the one. Like, or the like washed player dartboard. Just something. I don't know. I mean, either that or it was just
right.
We can get him for nothing, right? I suppose that could be the thing. Like if you're trying to unload, we probably need one of those still. So this guy that's been out of the league, yeah, okay, cool, let's do that. I think the biggest question is Miami trying to win at all? Or are you just trying to position yourself to be like ready for a good draft pick?
I asked Rod point blank, do you think the Dolphins with Tua, can make it to the Super Bowl? And he was like, no. Like, so what are you doing? Because you're going to be tied to this for a number of years. And like you said, the moves just don't. Hey, let's get Minka, let's get out rid of Ramsey, which is okay. And let's get rid of Donnie Smith and get Darren Waller, who hasn't even, I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like it's to be a Miami Dolphins fan right now. And they were excited. We got Minka back. I'm like, guys, it's not enough.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's basically like somebody letting their kid play franchise mode on Madden, and they're just doing deals. Well, that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
It pays off, yes.
Man. Since we did dive a little into the WNBA as well, we do have the All-Star voting came in for the starters. Also, WNBA announced some expansion. There were already 2 teams slated for this next year, but they added 3 more teams, so it'll bump the league out to 18 teams. That being said, if you're listening on 97.3, this is where we got to let you get back to your regular programming. Smooth Jazz NBA, though. Stay tuned on Roku or on YouTube at Football-Talk. All right. So let's start with the WNBA All-Stars because most of it made all the sense in the world. The one that people are going to lose their mind on, and it started to already. So Clark is in, Reese is out, which immediately has people losing their minds, even though Reese's numbers really haven't been great.
Terrible. That has not helped at all either.
I mean, you can be an all-star on a bad team, but
true that.
The Mariners have been a great example of that over the years. Like you can still have an all-star on a terrible team, but it's funny because when you look at Reese over the last like 5 or 6 games, she's played actually really well, right? Prior to that, she was not playing awesome. Conversely, if you look at Clark, she started out the season really great and then got hurt again. Now she still makes the team because of that work early in the season.
Right. And popularity, let's be honest.
Well, and I mean, they're voting games, right? So like that's always the case. So you don't necessarily have to have the best stats in the world to be an all-star as long as people are voting for you.
Right.
kind of why I don't like that element of it. But I've never been a big fan of the All-Star game being in the middle of the season. Because, I mean, it seems like your All-Star should be not the best first half of a season.
Right.
Like, you could go on a heater and then just fall off the map in the second half of the year. But you were an All-Star.
Right. For the whole second
like,
half.
I don't know. I always find that weird. Everybody but football does it. So, I mean, it's a normal thing, I guess. But it's a weird – I've always found it as a weird element because, like, I feel like there's still, like, a half a season to go.
Oh, to make your point even better, to make it even weirder, the voting happens so much earlier. So your sample size for what you're getting isn't even like a true half in some of these instances. It's like, well, you started voting a month ago, when they were like 8 games in or whatever for WNBA. So
right.
Sometimes you already knew. And then, like, to even further your point, if you were voting when Clark came back and she had those first 2 games against New York and Connecticut, and you voted during those, you're like, she's the best player in the league. And her next, 2 to 3 games, I guess, ending with when the Storm game was her last one, were terrible. But had you voted during a certain period, you're like, she's the best in the game. She's amazing. It's never going to stop. And you just missed all the bad stuff anyway. So I don't know. It's very strange.
I think when it comes to Clark, they just miss the bad stuff anyway. They're just like, Clark is in. You're just like, I mean, she doesn't play great.
Yeah. I guarantee you there were Clark fans rooting against them last night, against Indiana last night, just because they want to prove how valuable she is. Because there are certain people. I still saw posts last night.
They lose. That's funny.
But I've seen enough of it. It's the only thing I don't like about Caitlin Clark that has nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
Is some of her fans. I saw a guy post last night, congratulating Caitlin Clark on winning the Commissioner's Cup. It's like, she didn't even play. You couldn't put anyone else on this.
Right.
The Anna Reese thing is interesting because she's played much better since Cardosa left to go to her national team. And it kind of furthered my point about what a bad fit they are together and what a terrible draft.
Yeah.
Cardosa, should she have been drafted high? Absolutely. I think she's a great player. She had a great coming off a great college career. It's fine. Reese has shown what she can do. So do each one of them deserve, their draft picks? Yes. Should those picks have been on the same team? No. And I think you're seeing it, that Reese thrives without Cardosa in there.
Well, I mean, they occupy the same piece of the floor, so that's the biggest issue.
Yes. Like, without an outside shot on either one. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. And that was the point, right? It's just like shooter. They sort of get in each other's way, and then the people that are on the perimeter aren't breaking down to the play. So you're getting Reese triple teamed and stuff going down into the paint. No one coming down to help her. Yeah. So, and it's funny because I've seen the narrative, see, she's selfish, she doesn't pass, teammates are coming. You can't. Like, that's a turnover every time.
Yeah. And you're occupying the down low space so that your next best player, let's say it is Cardosa, she's no good wherever she's standing if she's not down low. So you're not passing her. Good. Their best guard last year was Kennedy Carter, and they didn't even want her back. That tells you a lot about her. She's not even in the league now. So they got Vandersloot. She gets hurt. It's just been a mismanagement on that team, and it started with drafting those two. So.
Oh yeah, no question. For a long time, really, but and of course, people are putting this at Reese's feet. They're like, "How come they're not better?" And it's like, well, she's not a shooter, so she can't do the. Let me just put the team on my back and score all the points. Like, that's not what she's great at. Like, can you have a player like Clark do that? Sure, right? Like, that can work. If you have a great defensive player, rebounder, they're never taking over a game. They 0 days in your life where you're like, you know what? Draymond is going to take this game over, right? Can he be the deciding factor if he's got shooters knocking it down? No question. But if you need him to be the guy and score all the points, like, well, let's just schedule this loss real quick. I feel
like in Draymond's best scoring games, they've lost. So, yeah.
Yeah, because he shouldn't he shouldn't be shooting, right? Like he should get his open pass down shots. But yeah, he shouldn't be creating his shot, right? Like he should take them when he has them, but he shouldn't try and create shots. Like he should distribute the ball and then rebound and play defense. The things that he's great at.
Yeah, which he's perfectly fine with, by the way. You know, if Draymond goes out and gets you 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and 0 points, and they win, he's perfectly happy, and you will not see a complaint from him. And his team is happy. You know, I think Reese is one of those few that we kind of criticize. You know, and I say we don't on this show. You know, when they're she's not. You know, look at how many shots she's missing, because that's not what she's good at. Rebounding, defense. You've actually seen a couple of games where she's had some good distribution numbers, but again, without Cardoso, so she has a little bit more, take out a big, and now you get somebody who's actually moving a little bit. And like I said, I love Cardoso, so this is not a slight on her at all.
No, it's just it's a match issue. Exactly. No, and the thing that's funny is, you see Reese's assists go up when people are moving towards her when she's down low, because then she has an exit. She can pass it out. If everybody else is beyond the arc, tough to get that pass out. So, I always find that funny. But she did not get a starting slot. I haven't seen who the bench players are. I would bet that she's on the All-Star team, right? Like, I would be really surprised, because again, it's a voting game. So even if her numbers were atrocious, which they're not, but even if they were, she would get a voting thing no matter what.
Yes. Yep. I agree. What I'm interested now is, because they're drafting the teams, does Clark pick Reese at some point? Because that's what'll make everybody.
That would be interesting.
And they played together last year, but it was a different format. It was the Olympic team versus the All-Stars.
Yeah.
Whooped them.
Yeah. And the All-Stars didn't exactly make you feel good about the Olympic run that was about to happen. You're just like, oh, no.
And it didn't help quell any of the whole Clark should have been on the Olympic team. I was like one of those, no, they're fine. And then they did that, and I was like, I mean, I think they're fine. I don't.
Yeah, after that performance, you're like, I hope they met. So, also in the WNBA, expansion is coming. And we got 2 teams coming next year. Obviously, the Valkyries started this year. Off to a good start, playing inspired basketball. Definitely. So that, unfortunate for my Storm, because they beat the brakes off them twice in 2 weeks. But it's encouraging to see expansion teams do well, because it means that their expansion process is good, right? As far as getting talent on those teams. So that's encouraging moving forward. Obviously, that was one team coming in. This year, this next year, there's 2 teams coming in. So I would imagine those rosters will be watered down a little bit differently than the Valkyries. But Portland gets a team. Toronto gets a team. The 3 new ones that were released
Detroit.
Where'd my little graphic go? Oh, here we go. So we got Cleveland coming in 28, Detroit in 29, and Philly in 30.
The Detroit, of course, previously had a team. So
they did. They did. And I mean, these are sports towns. So it makes a ton of sense to me. Toronto also makes sense. They all have arenas that are easy to move into. So I do have some question on once they finally hit this 18th team. Do they finally move into that conference play? Right, because they have an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference, but it doesn't matter.
They lump them all
right?
together
Because the playoffs is based on ranking, not conference, right? So, like, if you were looking at the Western Conference right now, the Storm would be third, but they're fifth when it comes to playoffs because the conference doesn't matter.
And I think they started off with conferences when they first started, way back in the day, and then somewhere along the way they just melded into both. And then I imagine you go back to it.
That's the thing. Like, when you have enough teams, I think you have to do it.
I agree.
When you don't have a lot of teams, the best records make the most sense because you don't want to have somebody with a just terrible record get into the playoffs because they have to.
Right. No, I agree.
So I kind of get it when leagues are small, but if you're jumping out to an 18-team league, and realistically, even after next year, they could probably do it, right? Because you'll be at 15 next year. So at 15 teams, you could probably realistically start to do the conference thing. Like, obviously, one conference will have one more team, but I think you can probably, effectively do it at that point. And I hope so, because then the conferences actually
matter
something.
a little bit. Yep. I like it. And especially, I mean, it almost kind of helps that you'll have, if it continues on this path for the next couple of years while they're expanding, if Minnesota and New York are still your two best teams, which they're taking lumps every other night, so who knows? But if they're your top two and they're in East-West, that'd be great. And then if you have an upstart like, Indiana on one side that can challenge and you're keeping that over there. And then, like, let's say Seattle continues out they're going, or if Vegas kind of gets back to where they are, you keep a certain amount of teams on both sides where you're like, look, we're kind of guaranteed our finals are going to be good because we've separated this out enough to where the teams will be separate. So I like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm hoping for is, hopefully it can go back to conferences, because it gives you something else to kind of root for. Right. Because then you're just like, okay, you can still get the conference win even if you don't win at all. Like, there's some, like, not everybody gets a trophy type of thing. Like, you still have to win your conference, but it adds some excitement to more of the play. Right. Because then some of the games within the conference matter. Yeah. Because a Western Conference game for the Storm doesn't make any difference, right? Like, wins and losses, that's what matters. Right. Not to say that it doesn't anyway, but when you have conference play, then all of a sudden the conference wins matter because that helps with tiebreakers at the end and stuff, right? So it's.
And I'd even think look at the Indiana Pacers. You don't think they enjoy Eastern Conference champion banners being put up and something to celebrate?
Of course they do.
Because then there's a little extra incentive just for a couple other teams, I get it because I'm definitely a winner sort of person. Yeah, it's great to be, all right, we're the NBA champions, or we're the WNBA champions, but it's nice to have some other goals that hey, look, we didn't win the whole thing this year, but here's our Western Conference championship banner. We can show that we're making progress and we've got a next goal to shoot for versus, we made it semis. What was that?
You froze up there.
Oh, I didn't even see it on my end. Sorry.
Yeah, as soon as you said Western Conference,
it was gone.
You're just like, yep, see ya. Like, having other goals, right? And that's the way I look at it too, right? Is it's good to have some of those, more immediate goals before, like in football, right? Like, you have your division champion, you have your conference champion, and obviously Super Bowl.
Right.
But only one team can win the Super Bowl. So, being able to be like, okay, yeah, we were able to win our conference, didn't make it through the playoffs or our division or whatever, right? And so you always kind of hope that it'll be something, it'll evolve into that, right? Because then it gives these teams something to strive for, even if they fell short of the ultimate goal.
I agree.
But
I agree.
That being said,
Uh-oh.
not everybody thinks that
oh yeah,
these cities are the best. And
I was wondering if you...
Detroit was mad.
Oh,
Detroit
okay.
was mad. But this is Sophie Cunningham. And if you think you've heard the name before, it's because she was the enforcer
Yes.
for that Fever game, protecting Clark.
And now she's taking whatever liberty she wants. Huh?
No question. No question. So this is hilarious. So here we go. Oh, is it not gonna?
Come on, Sophie, don't let us down. She's playing the villain role right now. She's like, I refuse.
And I think that the women's soccer league is showing that light.
Oops. Come on.
I think that Miami would have been great. Like, everyone loves Florida. Nashville is an amazing city. Kansas City, amazing opportunity. There's a huge arena downtown that no one's using. And I think that the women's soccer league is showing that light. People draw, and so I'm not so sure what the thought process is there. But at the end of the day, you also mentioned that you're not expanding our league too fast. I think you do that also. You don't want teams to totally dominate and have teams that aren't. So I just think that it's kind of a hard decision-making situation. But man, I don't know how excited people are to be going to.
Don't know how excited people are to go to Detroit or Cleveland. And Detroit was not happy about that stance. So the here, let me. For some reason, this just did not load the way I thought it was going to. But City of Detroit. Last time we were home to the WNBA, Detroit Shock ranked top 5 in attendance for 5 straight seasons, number 1 in attendance for 3 straight seasons, set a single game attendance record, 22,000 in the game 3 of the WNBA 2003. Additionally, more than 775,000 people were excited to come to Detroit for the 2024 draft. Detroit is a sports town. We're sure we'll see the same excitement for the WNBA. So, City of Detroit was not stoked about Sophie Cunningham there. I get what she's saying a little bit, but she's just not paying attention to the fact that she's calling out obvious sports towns.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if it was just, if it was, we're going to a small market town that, we haven't seen do much with sports, but you're talking Cleveland and Detroit. And I mean, what are you talking about right now?
Yeah. Like I said, I think she's taking too many liberties here, just going a little crazy with her newfound, like, your popularity is basically tied to you throwing a girl down because of Caitlin Clark. Other than that, not many people outside of sport would have been interviewing you, asking these questions. Like, I need you to. And then I'm reading the whole article. She actually called Cleveland Cincinnati at one point.
She did it in that audio. Right at the end of the audio. Yeah.
So I'm like, come on, what are we doing here? And then I mean, if you're still in the league at that point, good luck playing in the cities because you're automatically the worst. So you
are the villain walking into any of those towns now.
Yes.
Imagine if she gets traded to one of them.
Picked in the expansion draft. Oh, that'd be my first pick. Yep. Here you go.
Saying that while you're in Indy. Yeah, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, too funny. Too funny. All right. Switching over to baseball real quick. 10 minutes left here. And we got Cal Riley. Big jumper. just smashing home runs. Ends up with 33, ties him third all time by the end of June.
And I had that up. Yeah, there we go.
And he joins some pretty impressive company, really. In Barry Bonds, obviously, in that monster year that he had 39, 2001. Mark McGwire, again, he's getting lumped in with the roid users. So he's doing something good, right?
Oh, drug test
37 for Mark McGwire in 98. Griffey Jr., 33 in 98. Sammy Sosa, 33 in 98. And of course, Cal, 33 this year. 3 of the 5 cannot get in the Hall of Fame because of roids. So you are in some unique space here. And he had a really funny quote after hitting his 33rd. They asked him, does he get tired of it? And he's like, no, I like hitting home runs and winning games. I was like, that's a great quote.
Yeah. I like it.
But,
and I'm reading more about, because of course I didn't know as much. Also, he's a catcher, and so it's even more historic numbers. The most by catcher in a season is 48. And
yeah. Well, and it is the most for a catcher at this point in the year.
Right.
Most for a switch hitter at this point in the year.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's setting
about
records
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. It's always neat to see a guy kind of go off.
Right.
Obviously, the best year of his career. Yeah, no, like it's cool. Obviously, it's great that it's a Mariner like that. That's
right.
always fun.
I was wondering how this story got to the front.
Well, the thing that's interesting is he's really close to setting a franchise record, because at 33, he's tied with Griffey for the second most before the All-Star break. He only needs 2 more to break it. So 35 was Griffey's best start before the All-Star break. And we still have 2 weeks? Is that right?
Yes. It's also interesting to me, too, by the way, that the only names we ever hear, outsiders, is like Ohtani and Judge, and they're not leading. I have no problem with her being the villain, but be the villain on the player teams that you're playing now. Like, why set up to be a villain 2 or 3 years from now? Like, what's the point of counting out those 2 teams?
Like you may not even be in the league by the time the last team shows up.
Yes.
5 years out.
Yeah. So what do you play? Yeah. That's some long-term villain planning. Are we watching her villain arc? Is that what you're saying? But
pretty much. So I guess the question I have for you, since we ventured back into that, is because baseball is likely going to strike
again.
Yeah. For the 27 season, because their CBA goes through next year. If they were to strike, do you see the WNBA pushing these projected dates forward because they won't be competing against baseball?
No, because I don't think the people running the WNBA are that smart.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so
do I think that is an excellent idea? Absolutely.
Yeah, because your attendance would be amazing.
Yes. No, it's a great point. I say no because my faith in them right now is just so low, given what I've seen.
That's fair.
In year 2 of Caitlin Clark. That's the only thing. Would I love it if they did it? Yes. If you're going to capitalize, if you're going to be a summer sport and the other summer sport is gone and your biggest probably competition to a lazy afternoon of watch, yes, you absolutely push to do that. You have more day games, get some of these families out there to watch the games. I would think every Saturday and Sunday I'd fill up the slate just to make sure people have ample time to get to one home game or something,
Exactly.
But I don't know that I have faith in the people running it to do something like that, because that's absolutely what I'd be thinking about.
That's the way I would do it. It's like, okay, you know what? Let's we have 2 coming in this year. why not for the 27 season, just elevate those three? Because the stadiums are there. It's not like they're waiting on stadiums or anything. Yeah. So just elevate those three, push those three out together on a year where you're probably going to have record attendance and viewership, because baseball is just not going to be a thing. Yeah. And you're going to be on major networks because they're going to need stuff to fill the space.
You would have some, I'd almost have to tell like Caitlin Clark and maybe Nafisha Call my star, like, look, you guys are pretty much going to play every Saturday and Sunday throughout the summer, midday, so we can get some matinees, get some people in here. Like, what? Like, yeah, sorry, just gotta happen. Don't think you're ever
you guys say you want to make more money. Let's go generate more money.
This is it. Yes.
Yeah. The way this conversation is going, I'm just going to get the message in the comments. Sorry, you don't get credentials anymore.
Look, hey, Bo was fully in favor of you guys and he loves you. It was just that Herb guy. Bo definitely deserves credentials. I actually hacked into the system and just been saying crazy stuff all morning. It's not Bo's fault.
I'm AI right now.
Yes.
No, but it is.
Herb did what? I wasn't even there that morning.
Yep. No, I know they won't do it, but they should. Because baseball is actively trying to destroy their product again. I mean, the only thing that saved it the last time was the guys on roids jacking home runs into another area code. I don't know what's going to save them the next time. Like, if you miss another season, player strikes make fans mad.
Yeah.
Because they already think you're overpaid.
Yeah.
You can't go in and be like, we want more money. Now, that's not going to be the case for baseball. Baseball's trying to get a salary cap. That's one of the biggest things with, this not coming together. But that's not what the story's going to be. The story's going to be they want more money. They're locking out because they're greedy. And that really turns fans off, because you're making, as a guy that never sees the field, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. When you look at the NFL, it's like $600K is minimum wage, basically.
Right.
Fans don't feel bad for you.
No, at all.
Like your average wage around the US is what, like 45, 47K, something like that. They don't feel bad that you're like, oh, I want 680 instead of 650. They're like, yeah, you know what? Can't say that on air, but
no, you're absolutely, like, true story. Because I'm not a baseball guy. We had just got back to the States in '94, so I was watching a lot of baseball. And there was a lot of records being set or potential to be set. And then when they did that strike that year, or like whatever you want to call it, that was the last season I really, because I was like, there was a lot of stories to be interested in that year.
Yep.
And then they shut it down, no postseason. That's when they lost me. So whenever you think about what you just said, hey, you lose fans, I'm one of them,
Oh, yeah.
I used to really enjoy watching baseball. So
I watched a lot less after that.
Yeah.
Because I used to watch a lot of, games on TV.
Yeah.
Now I am more likely to score chase, or I'll have it on in the background, but I won't really sit and watch baseball a lot.
Right.
I love going to a game. I love covering the sport, all of that. I don't watch a ton of it just directly on TV, and haven't for a long time. And really since that last strike way back.
Yeah.
And, because again, it's just a turnoff. It's like, come on, guys, like you're already making more in a year than half of these people do in a decade. Like, and that's if you're a bench player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're a star, you're making more in a year than these people will make in their lifetime. They don't feel bad for you that you're like, oh, I want an extra $1 million. Like, yeah, cool, man. Like,
Exactly.
So, that being said, that gets us to the top of the hour. Basically, the takeaway is baseball, do better. Other than that, we are going to get out of here. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. If you're watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. Otherwise, we'll see y'all next week. Take it easy, everybody.